This is Slim in Muhammad Rafi. Salutation from me to all my viewers and subscribers. I am talking to you from my YouTube channel Zamir Universal. We as human beings living on this planet, getting together in a pluralistic society, all wish to have peace. But unfortunately, we have amongst us some people who think otherwise. You call them troublemakers, call them terrorists, call them schemers, call them people who spy on you and take away your basic rights to breathe, to live, and have peace for you, yourself, and everybody around you. RSS is the one big problem, a terrorist organization born nearly 150 years ago in India, and the founder member is Narendra Modi, the butcher of Gujarat, the present Prime Minister, or the blue-eyed boy of everyone in the world. There's every rule, every law this man has broken. He has burned Muslims alive. He has asked the chief of the police in Gujarat when he was the chief minister not to go and take and help people and save their lives. Instead, he said he wanted revenge. He wanted to see every Muslim man, woman, and their businesses burned and eradicated completely from Gujarat, of which in 2002 he was the chief minister. As a result of his such barbarism, worse than gas chambers of Hitler, this midget, a little devil, like a lizard which keeps changing its colors. He is a tea vendor coming from a very bad background. He used to sell tea and pakoras, and with that background, he became a criminal-minded person, and he had a life where he was missing the love of mother and wife and children and family. So he is an abnormal in every aspect, and is one of the extremist, I think worse the history has ever seen. Hitler will look like a small tiny speck on the history and the world map when you compare this cruel butcher. And amazingly, he came into power by frightening, by killing, by torturing, by manipulating the highest judiciary, the highest and the richest businessmen. He sold almost half of India, all the railway stations, the airports, the airlines, the parks, the industries, to his friend who owns nearly half of India. So the wealth accumulated in the hands of only few, no more than 5 people in India. This guy has the closest friendship and also a partnership with them. And so he is the most corrupt man on earth who has accumulated wealth and power through those people to whom he has sold India. The poor Indians believe that he is a guy who is going to solve their poverty, who is going to make all public toilets stop the open defecation, is going to get rid of slums and give a house to everyone. And in there everyone the people who are, according to him, excluded, and according to his belief, and the RSS and that terrorist organization's belief and the objective was that it will not include any other person except a Hindu. And Hindu of a type which he believes should be a Hindu. So he wanted Hindu Rashtra, and that is what the RSS means. So started from the age of 3 and brainwashed those kids. One of those kids was this monster Narendra Modi. And the current murder on the soil of Canada has proven that this terrorist organization not only put fire to the mosques, churches, and the worship places of other minorities, but it exported the terrorism to Canada, exported it to Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran.
Along with the powerful calls for diplomatic consequences, an end to intelligence sharing, and a public inquiry my colleague just mentioned, we at NCCM are calling for 4 additional actions. 1, the immediate recalling of Canada's ambassador to India. 2, an initiation of the process of expulsion of the Indian ambassador to Canada, High Commissioner Shri Sanjay Kumar Verma. 3, a formal freeze on trade negotiations between India and Canada, including but not limited to the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CEPA. And 4, together with the WSO, we today call for the immediate banning of the RSS under the listing provisions in the Criminal Code and the removal of its agents from Canada.
America, Australia, New Zealand, wherever you see the footsteps of terror, you see and you'll find RSS hidden somewhere, disguised. And the main player he has is Ajit Kumar Doval, one of the worst kind, and another accomplice is the Shah, who was his witness to his crimes in 2002. And when he was going to be charged for the murder of 2,000 Muslims, he started to change his statement and save the life of this monster or this butcher. And as a reward, he made him a home minister, and he continues to do that. There are at least half a dozen Muslim majority states in India, and there are states where there are minorities like South India, Kerala, where the literacy rate is 99%. They have hated and stayed away from the common, this prejudice and that untouchable and that below human dignity thinking and practice of these extremist Hindus. And they always had relations with China, with Russia, and so was known as a communist state. And still it continues to do that. The other one, you must have all heard about Mamta. And you see how in Bengal she hates Modi, and she does not even want him to step into her state. So India is nothing but a union of hodgepodge and people who, majority of them who hate this butcher, majority of them who do not want to live by terrorizing the others, murdering on the soil of other sovereign countries. The other minority which has been affected and persecuted, and he wanted an ethnic cleansing by cleaning India from all 250 million Muslims and Sikhs and millions of Sikhs, millions of Tamils, millions of Dalits, millions of Christians, and millions of other Parsis, Memons, and those people who are either atheists or the one who really are in Bombay, Dadi, and most industrial areas of India where the wealth is concentrated. When you look at the slums in Bombay, when you look at the slums in New Delhi, you begin to realize that what will be the life like in the rural areas of India. We are poverty-stricken, and women go out more than 60% for open defecation. And you see many Indians proud to drink and sell cow urine. They consider an animal their mother. They consider and worship a snake. They consider and worship Kalima. They pour milk on stone and they are trying to please their God. They think inside that stone, black stone, God lives. Apart from this, that it is their belief and be left alone, the way they are free to practice their own religion the way they want. But they have no right to export terrorism and their ideology or their living without other religions, without allowing freedom to practice their religion and their culture, and wanting the whole continent of India for themselves. There can't be a greater threat to the global peace than this. It's funnily enough that how come just because they are thickly populated, 1.5 billion people living there in India, and they are the people who are consumers. So everyone who is manufacturing, they are looking for people to buy. And after China, but China, they do not buy, they sell. They manufacture. And they are all over the world. And you find from the smallest toy to the largest aircraft manufactured in China. So the India is the main consumer-based economy, consumer-based country. But cleverly enough, what they have done is that the 5% people who have all the wealth of the whole country, after the British left, they started to manufacture pharmaceutical raw material and export. They started to concentrate in Bangalore, the IT experts from Pakistan, from United States of America, from Stanford, from Silicon Valley, from all across the world, and they had their IT, internet cafe. And with that, they got, many contracts.
Claiming that the activists of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS) have been indicted in at least 13 terror cases across India, former Maharashtra Inspector General of Police S.M. Mushrif described the BJP's ideological mentor as India's #1 terrorist organization. RSS activists have been charge-sheeted in at least 13 cases of terror acts in which RDX has been used. If organizations like Bajrang Dal are taken into the account, then the number of such cases goes up to 17, Mushrif said. The RSS is India's #1 terrorist organization, there is no doubt on this, said Mushrif, referring to the 2007 Mecca Masjid bombing in Hyderabad, the 2006 and 2008 Malegaon blast in Maharashtra, and the 2007 Samjhauta Express bombings, among others. The RSS as a terror organization has nothing to do with political power. It is immaterial which party is in power. It is the system that is working. It's the Brahminical system. And when I say Brahminical, it doesn't mean the Brahmin. It's the mentality, the attitude to dominate and oppress, he said.
Where the countries outsource their services just like the call centers, they outsource for applications because they made cheapest because of so thickly, heavily populated country. They concentrated and they accumulated wealth from all across the world by doing this. But that money, that wealth, does not go to a poor. The poor becomes poorest and poorest in India, and the typical example of persecution of minorities or the poor is that when the Sikhs who lived in Punjab, majority province of Punjab, where the Sikhs were and the Khalistan movement, they wanted a pure country of Sikhs for themselves so that they could freely practice, wish the Muslims of India had done the same. And they had also come up. And sooner they will, the way they are being cleansed, the way they are being lynched, the way they are being burnt alive, that they will want a country of their own. Already 5 Muslim states, Junagadh, Bhopal, Hyderabad, and the Nawab of Vadodi, married to a film actress. They are all Muslim states, and I think the most burning and the most painful example is the Kashmir itself, where more than 90% population is Muslim, and they want freedom for themselves. And United Nations have many resolutions for them to have plebiscite and decide for themselves, which is almost like a referendum. Funnily enough, for a small, little, tiny enclave of East Timor, but they wanted to have a separate life. They were awarded with Nobel Prize, and they were awarded the freedom from Indonesia, and it's now many decades that they are an independent country. But because of Kashmir being a Muslim state, just like Palestine, just because of Hyderabad, a Muslim state, Junagadh, a Muslim state, the world has turned deaf ear and closed their eye to it and let this monster flourish and grow. And now it's such a monster that it's killing people, murdering people in daylight in the sovereign state. The recent example is the murder of the Khalistan leader, Sikh, on the soil of Canada. There have been many efforts to ban RSS as a terrorist organization. There have been cases filed in the United States of America to ban this organization. But they think because they want their customer and they want India to fight for them a proxy war against China, as they did to Pakistan and destroyed Pakistan in the last 75 years, they want India now to fight China. They used Pakistan for 75 years to fight Taliban or people in Afghanistan, and they failed. Nearly 80 countries of the world, including NATO, Europe, Australia, Canada, everybody had to cut a sorry figure and leave Afghanistan. And Pakistan, now a puppet, so poor, can't pay its debt, is about to disintegrate because of having no money to pay their debt. The whole United States doing. This is exactly what they want to do to India. And the India, they see the most fertile land with such a terrorist organization spread all over India, and they want to divert that hatred, that terror towards China, because they want to contain China at any cost. So the world peace or global peace is nothing to them. They are protected by 2 great oceans of the world, so they don't have to worry. On one side there is Atlantic and the other is the Pacific. So they export invasions and wars, and go to Middle East, go to South America, go to Pakistan, to Afghanistan, and now they want, after Vietnam, they want now to go to contain China. And India has gone out of their control, and by holding G20 meeting, now it's a joke of the century that a poverty-stricken country, a country with full of this terrorists, and terrorists not organization but a population, and their leader now holding this. And I think the Arabs will find out soon. They will walk away with a blackened face because this man is cheating them, deceiving them. He has many faces. He, in fact, right inside his heart is the most cruel butcher. He is the person who does not care for anybody other being poverty-stricken. He even wanted to take away the few acres of land a Sikh has so that he could have corporate farming. He crushed them when the farmers protested outside. This all was RSS and that ideology which was making them do, so that the few farmers who have few acres of land and they are used to rural life, they come back to the big cities and beg for jobs. That is the way he did it to Kashmir, and he blinded them, raped them, and for the last 75 years he put them in cage. Now he has divided into pieces and converted by force by abrogating Article 370, went back and swallowed his own spit. And the Supreme Court is sitting and sleeping on it because they are in full compliance. Both the Election Commission, the special services, the police, the intelligence agencies, they work together with RSS because of fear of terror, because of fear of being murdered, because of fear of being put in jail forever. Even you know that Rajib, or the Congress leader, was disqualified from his seat in the Legislative Assembly. This is the kind of a power this gentleman has. And when he was denied visa by 90% of the civilized world because of their having customers and having so much population to buy their produce, they compromised. So that shows the double standard, that shows the hypocrisy and bigotry of the whole of West. It's most unfortunate that on one end of the scale they want peace and they promote democracy and peace, and on the other end they encourage terrorism. So about time, I think that this organization is banned all across the world as a terrorist Hindu organization, an extremist Hindu organization, and some sort of autonomy or protection or guarantees are provided by the United Nations to the Muslims as a separate state, to the Sikhs as a Khalistan, a separate state, and the 7 bottleneck countries which India has occupied by force so that they can live. They speak Chinese, they look like Chinese, they have nothing in common with India. So they 7 states go away and they have their independence. They don't have to join China. They can have their independence. Kashmiris should be also guaranteed independence. So should Hyderabad, Junagadh, so should the Sikhs and in Punjab, Khalistan. And I think this is the only way. It is about time the world turned to this, as they turned to ISS and they eliminated ISS from whole of Middle East. Although there are big questions that ISS was not a Muslim organization, but it was the creation of CIA, United States of America, Mossad of Jewish state Israel, and of some other Western powers who wanted to confront Pakistan and stop the very rapid spread of Islam all across the world. So they first played and flagged false operation of 9/11. Carefully they organized and engineered, and with that they managed to at least label Islam, the whole of religion, as a terrorist Islam. And now they have been keeping their eyes closed on this monsters RSS when it has grown, and it's now got courage to go and murder on the foreign soil. And it will be a matter of shame for Canada and the whole of NATO, of which Canada is a member, and the United States, of which is a next door neighbor, that they do not help Canada, they do not support Canada, they do not isolate India, they do not sanction India. Now this will prove to the rest of the world that they are in fact supporting terrorists if they do not act now. About time now for Australia and European Union, America and Canada and the rest of the world and the United Nations to ban RSS, to ban travel of Narendra Modi, his cabinet, his ministers, his armies, and they are not allowed to travel and export their terror to the rest of the world. With these words, I hope that the world will wake up and know that is a threat. The greatest threat to the global peace is at the moment Narendra Modi, his ideology of RSS, and Hindu Rashtra. I take a leap.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर